Welcome to the All Ambient podcast, where we dig into the creative process, we hear untold stories, and we explore the brilliant minds behind some of the finest ambient music that's out there. My name is Mike Graff. I make music in Steer Gravity. Really happy to be here on any day. I'm really happy to be here, but even more so because we are digging into part 2 of our Soma Sova Volume 2 challenge. We're going after songs 3 and 4 that we worked on for our latest round of Soma Sova, which is the collective moniker of Marshall, Ben, Kirk, and myself when we do these collab EP challenges where we are working on a song for just a little bit, we're passing it on to the next person, and created some really great music in the midst of it. They turned out great. We continue the breakdown of songs 3 and 4 today, but also in addition to that, the entire 4-song EP by Soma Sova is now out wherever you stream your music. You can check out the whole thing. Thrilled to have it out into the world. Thrilled to break down these songs with you. But there's something even more special on top of breaking down these 2 songs, on top of releasing the EP to the streaming world. We're introducing a remix challenge with this last round of songs that we just worked on, and cannot wait for you, if you're a musician, you're a producer, and you want to take a crack at remixing a song from Soma Sova, come on over to the All Ambient Discord, and there's a whole bunch more information there. You can kind of get the lay of the land, the rules, the files, all that stuff is waiting on the All Ambient Discord channel. So go over and check that out. We would love for you to be a part of the remix challenge. That would be amazing. And make sure that you engage with the rest of the Discord community on all the different topics. There are even threads for each podcast episode where you can ask questions, you can provide feedback, you can give suggestions on what you want us to cover next on the All Ambient podcast. So don't miss out on that. And be sure to go to all-ambient.com. You can find the entire catalog of music that is housed by All Ambient for streaming and licensing, and keep an eye out in the very near future for some special things that we are about to start releasing onto the platform, things that we've been working as a group very hard on that are coming your way, and will continue to do so for quite some time. So make sure you're paying attention over at all-ambient.com. But there we go. The plugs are done. We are digging right into part 2 of our latest Soma Sova collab EP challenge on the All Ambient podcast. All right, well, let's keep the ball rolling. Ben, Marsh, Kirk, glad you guys are here. We're picking up right where we left off, part 2 of our Soma Sova round 2 EP extravaganza. It was a great week. Make sure you go back and watch or listen to part 1 for anyone who hasn't done so yet. The quick little bring you up to speed is that Kirk, Marshall, Ben, and myself, over the last 4 days, we each put in 1 hour each on each of these 4 songs on this release. Someone started day 1, then picked up a different song and did it on day 2, picked up a different song, did it on day 3, and then picked up a different song and finished it on day 4. Spending just 60 minutes. We were committed to real instruments only, so we weren't using any plug-in, any virtual instruments, any sample libraries. We love all those things, but on this project, we were dedicating ourselves to the real stuff, which is great. And then within that, we each kind of stayed within our own lane of sorts with what instruments we were doing. But all in all, it turned out awesome. And on part 1 of this particular roundtable series, we went through the first 2 songs. Song 1 that Marshall started and that I wound up finishing, and then song 2 that Ben wound up starting and Kirk finished. Both just so cool. And honestly, you guys, like we'll talk more as we go, but I'm just, Marshall, you and I were just offlining a little bit about this. Like, I am reminded how quickly cool stuff can come together. Like it is just fascinating to me that the measure of how artistically valuable something is not directly tied to how many days or months or years it was poured over. I think there's, we could have a whole, and we have talked about this on, on the podcast plenty, but we could have a whole conversation about, just putting in the reps and about the fact that, like, Kirk, your performance on that last one and what you did on piano, like, wasn't just the 60 minutes that you did, but it was like the lifetime of everything that you've done kind of leading up to that moment, and the fact that you consistently show up and you put in the work, and it led you to be able to make those informed decisions at that moment the way you did, just as any of us. And so I think that's
That's cool.
I think that's really cool, that setting aside the fact that could we do more with these if we have more time? We probably could, but it is a unique set of parameters to say, I have basically 60 minutes to just put into the song what the song needs and then ship it off to the next guy, and I don't get to touch it anymore. There's a unique kind of challenge that brings up in me, and I'm sure the same goes for a lot of us, that really results in some great stuff. And so yeah, I'm reminded at the fact that just showing up and doing the work, it can bring some pretty great results even in just an hour a day. So yeah, seriously.
I think it's kind of cool. So for this, I actually did use a little, productivity timer thing, which I have. And It's like one of those things that, like, you know how it is. You try to use it, kind of sits there. I did use it for this, and I feel like there was the two kind of bigger takeaways that I loved were, I think that, and combined with having the limitation, is I know on maybe day 2, maybe even day 3, I didn't spend the full hour. It was maybe like on one day, I know there was like 40 minutes or so, and I had 20 minutes on the timer left. And I put myself in a place of, okay, if all bets were off and we were using samples, the natural next step would be to go look for another library. Now, what other sound can I add? What else can I do? I can add a cello thing or this or this. With this limitation, I thought that was really cool to be like, okay, I achieved what I want to do with this one instrument, and now I can like be confident sending it off to the next person. I don't know. For me, there's something to be said there, maybe in terms of like a general workflow. I know that's always like a struggle, is when we've talked about when do you know something is done, but that was just really cool too, to get, 45 minutes in and be like, did my thing, and now, go to the next round sort of thing. So yeah. It's good stuff, man.
I love that.
I felt throughout this that the limitation kind of forced a sense of trust, even greater sense of trust than with our previous collaboration, and also in general when I've collaborated with other people. I think my typical way of working is I will add a lot of stuff, like you're saying, Marshall, add a lot of stuff and make it sound kind of as finished as possible, and then trust that the other person will come in and kind of make it even better and bring their own unique flavor to the track. But on this, I was like, there are times when I can hear other stuff that kind of should be in there or could be in there that I'm not able to do. And so I have to be like, hey, okay, I trust these 3 other people, these amazing artists and producers, composers, can do not only what I'm thinking, but what they're thinking, and do it even better than what I'm thinking. And it just, I had to lean into that rather than being like, okay, how do I almost make this instrument be able to do something it's not really meant to do? So it was a great, I think all I'm saying is kind of agreeing with you, Marshall. I really enjoyed the limitation, and I think it's something that I will try to take with me a little bit more in collaboration in particular moving forward, but even within my just kind of solo work, just kind of really getting the most out of each instrument and not defaulting to, I could just use something else to create this just for the sake of it.
For sure.
Yeah, it's the age old, like I'm running out of creative ideas, so therefore ... I should go buy more new stuff, or I should just load up new as opposed to like, maybe if I turn this thing upside down, maybe if I just do something weird, something out of the ordinary, something different than what you typically would do with what you already have, or even just the simple challenge of, you can't go beyond this instrument. So then what is it going to necessitate from you it's a great creative exercise to just put you in a different headspace than, because like there is nothing wrong with the places that any of us default to. We kind of talked about this recently, I think maybe last month, but it's like the places that we go in some of our default, like I really want to bring this sound in, or I really want to work with this plugin, or really want to work with this instrument, or because we like those instruments. We know how to manipulate them. We know how to use them. But at the same time, just removing that as a possibility can cause us to answer questions just in a very unique way. And I think that's just such a good thing for us to do as creators on a regular basis, to get outside of I guess this is what I'm going to do again. Because I get excited about music all over again on a project like this. Not that I'm you know, hopefully I'm excited about music all the time, but you know what I mean? It just kind of wakes up some of your senses that may have gotten dulled a little bit with a project like this, and you look at stuff a little fresh. So yeah.
Totally.
Okay, well, shall we jump back into our listen throughs and head to song 3, which this is the starter that Kirk brought to the table. Kirk, you want to tee this one up for us?
Yes, I do. I remember this vaguely. It was so long ago. 3 days, 4 days, but exactly.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened. And I think what I wanted to do with this was I wanted to just kind of start at the top sonically, higher frequencies, higher mid-range things. I didn't have a tempo. It was fairly improvisational. I think I sat down at the piano, this guy here, and I just had a couple mics up, and I think I was in G or C or just kind of going back. Yeah, I was in the key of G, and then going between the 1 and the 4 chord a little bit, and no tempo. Then I did a couple of Ds, going around on the 5 a little bit. And so once I got a few minutes that I liked, I think what I did was I used my vary speed on Logic and just went down an octave. And so took the whole thing, which sounds good. Vary speed sounds good. What sounds better actually is when you load the sample into Logic Sampler and then replay it back into Logic an octave lower and then record that and bounce it out. But I was like, ain't nobody got time for that today. And so vary speed works. It works really good when you're doing 1 or 2 or 3, semitones. When you do an octave, sometimes it gets grainy, but it sounds great. So I basically did that, bounced it out, went back up my octave, and then brought the thing back in. So now I have these 2 performances. One is an octave lower, twice as slow. The other one is the original performance. And I think I took the original performances and I either pitched it up or left it how it was, kind of reversed parts and sent it through some Echo Boy, some Shimmer, and some there's this plugin called Backmask.
Oh yeah. It's a weird plugin, man.
It's kind of creepy. I don't like I don't like looking at it for very long. But it basically does everything that I like to do by hand. Yeah. And so it kind of just throws things out randomly and reverses things randomly. And so I'll dial that in, not 100%. So the Echo Boy throws into the backmask, and then the backmask throws into the reverb. And so it just kind of makes that thing. And those were kind of my 2 stems. I had kind of the bright, shiny sprinkles, and then I had the low, plunky melodies. And there was a sequence to the chord changes, but I was kind of trusting, like you're talking about, Ben, with trust. It's I was trusting, I was someone's going to create a bass sequence or a drone that modulates in volume, even if it stays on the 1. Someone's going to create something against these chord changes that's going to feel good. So I'm kind of going to just let them have the freedom to discover the chord progression with whatever bass lines they decide. That was how I was kind of just throwing out there.
Love it. I'm very excited to listen to this.
Yeah, me too. I'm nervous now.
Kirk's more excited than the rest of us are. Let's listen to day 1 of the starter that Kirk sent into the Soma atmosphere. This is song 3. Kirk, was that beginning thing, was that intentional to leave in there?
That was just me moving the piano bench
kind of rapid fire
to sit at it.
There you go. Love that.
But I was like, it sounds awesome, so I'm leaving it in. This is all G stuff. But the stuff on top...
Is that the Backmask plugin, Kirk, that's doing that? Is that the plugin that you're talking about that's doing the
backmask? You can hear more on the bottom notes.
Oh, okay.
Marshall gonna go be buying backmask when we're done recording this.
Yeah, probably.
But I'll run the backmask through and then reverse it, so you're hearing the reversed reverb with the backmask on the high ones too. So it's on both of them.
It's cool.
I honestly, it's funny we're hearing this in like a backmask commercial. I love that plugin. I forgot about it for a while because it actually started crashing Ableton for me. Like it wasn't, there was some compatibility thing with that or with my OS or with whatever that I just couldn't anymore. So you may have just reminded me just how great that thing is.
Your piano sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, man.
What mics are you using on that? I think we've talked about that.
It's 257s at this point. I actually bought some high-end mics, and I'm gonna do a shootout.
Sure.
But I like them. They just sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like the KM 184s. I just haven't even set them up yet because the 57s were sounding good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh.
So the other thing about this is like one performance. It's one performance all the way through, but the high end is reversed, so it's the chords are backwards. So it's like usually where I'm playing a G on the bottom, there's probably a C or a D up top. And if I'm playing a C on the bottom, there's a G up top, you know, so it's a lot of seventh chords by mistake.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fourths and sevenths. And
Yeah, fourths, sixths,
all
ninths.
Yeah. It's creating, melody moments that kind of typically go to. Yeah, that's really great, man.
Sweet. Yeah, I like the way the notes interact randomly.
Wow. Okay, well, then you handed that masterpiece to me for day 2, and I just destroyed it completely. So
The theme.
day 2. Kidding? Not
I was
kidding?
having
I don't know.
I was having a really bad day. Also that day.
Click delete. Just recorded my own stuff. Start it right again.
Oh man. Day 2 for me, I decided, I kind of had an idea in the back of my head. I had like 5 or 6 different options of like what guitarish type thing I was going to do on any given day. I didn't want to make the call until I heard what was going on. So maybe that was my extra little challenge, Ben, is I didn't like have a pre-programmed, this is what I was going to do. Did you kind of have an idea of the ones that you were going to do, like the Stone Glock and the Idiopan, and or were you just kind of free-forming that too?
I was freeforming it, except for the
Nice.
I knew that I wanted to use the Stone Glock for my starter, but that was it. Then everything else was kind of, I'd listen to the track and be like, okay, what weird and wonderful instrument am I
Did
gonna
all of us do
try
that?
on this?
Like just kind of a show of hands. Like, did we kind of go and say, no, I'm going to use this, or were we just like, I don't know, let's see what the moment inspires?
I knew I was going to use
I knew
piano,
I was
but I
gonna-
didn't know what I was going to do until I heard
Yeah.
what
Same
happened
for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so cool. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that we all just kind of instinct. I mean, it's a good way to go, but that's a cool instinctive thing. So for this one, the guitar-ish instrument that I picked up was my trusty bass 6. So I played the bass 6 is another Marshall. All of our post-rock Cloud Chaos instruments are we're getting some interesting play on this one. So the bass 6 is strung like a guitar, EADGBE, but everything is down in octave, and it is played like a bass, even though the neck is much closer to like a guitar-ish like neck, and the notes are closer together. It's a very cool bass sound. Like it would be more of a bass instrument than an electric guitar, even though it kind of looks like a sort of a souped up Strat or something. But when I heard Kirk's awesome thing, but with very little being attached to it chordally, everything you said, just trusting someone else to go off with it on the chords, and boy did I go off on the chords. We took it for a ride. I thought it was a really cool instrument to do it with and add. There's some cool moments where like even just doing like power chords on it sort of add that like fifth weight to it. But I really like I'm a sucker for why go to the 4 chord when the minor 2 will do? Why go to the 1 when you could do, the first inversion, with the 3 in the bass, or second inversion with the 5, or go to the relative minor with the 6 or whatever. Like I love just kind of, not doing it for the sake of like trying to sound cool, because we've had that conversation here, but just doing it like, could we do it just a little different, like something that you're kind of expecting to have happen, but you're still being satisfied by it in the same way, but maybe it's a different chord. So I think it turned out well, and I'm sure I did some other weird basic stuff, but yeah, that is what I did. Let's see, day 3 on that one would have been, was that Ben?
I think Marshall. I finished this one up.
Oh, cool, awesome. Marshall.
That would be me. I don't know if I remember what I did. I know it involved my pedals. I think when we listen back, I will verify, but I think I was trying to bring like just some kind of sparkly moments where it kind of like just helped lift it a bit. Really, actually, I really loved hearing it after you added the bass, Mike. I was just like, oh my gosh, it felt amazing. I loved what it was doing, and it felt so full. So I think my natural spot to go was, okay, I kind of want to play with some higher frequency stuff to kind of just like,
sure.
Like some of those, I remember some of the bass moments felt like it was almost kind of just like swelling, like really nice, kind of coming in a bit more. And yeah, just kind of getting some stuff going where I could kind of bring in some sparkly pedal stuff as it went. And I think it's pretty much maybe did 2 or 3 passes with that, but yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Then Ben landing the plane on this one.
Yeah. So when I got this, it was sounding really good. It was sounding really full. And initially I was like, okay, maybe I need to do a little bit of arrangement, kind of bring things in at different points. And I spent about 20 minutes doing that. And then I listened back and I was like, I've made it different and maybe a little bit worse. So I scrapped what I did. I started again, and I kept a few.
Yeah.
I kept a few of the EQ moves that I'd made, which I liked,
Sure.
and it was from a kind of mixing perspective. But really, I kept what Marshall had created. I brought in a couple of things a little later than they were already. I think I brought in the bass just a little bit later, just to give a bit more emphasis. And then what I ended up doing, the instrument that I brought, I actually went back to the Stone Glock. So this was my day 4. Stone Glock was day 1 as well. But I didn't play it. I kind of basically rubbed the top of it with a stick and created this kind of like little shimmer sound. And so I almost I created these little risers towards the end of the track just to kind of highlight different moments. And then I did do like just a little bit of, and this is super washy, but just like a little kind of pad with it again, just to kind of emphasize a few tones at the end. And then I probably spent 20 minutes on the final 10 seconds of the track trying to kind of make it feel kind of an organic ending, because when I got it, it was kind of all just, I guess it just kind of ended and it didn't feel like it had completely landed. So I was like, okay, I need to work on those final 10 seconds. So I did. When you hear it, it will sound very similar to what Marshall created, but then there's just those higher sprinkles towards the kind of second half that I think I brought to the table, and then the overall mix side of things. So I'm excited to hear the master, though, for sure, that Marshall has worked on.
Amazing. Yeah,
love
my
that.
apologies for just just I can get so into like playing a part, and then I just like don't care how the audio file finishes, and I was like, yeah, so someone also had to. So sorry to like stick you with a third of your time slot, like just cleaning up Mike's mess over there, and that's funny.
Those are my favorite
Sorry,
parts of a
dude.
track, though. Like when I'm getting close to the end, and I'm working on like the last 12 seconds or the first 8
Yeah.
seconds. I'm like, I'm almost there. It's like that's like a little it's like a little dopamine hit. It's like, oh man, we're rounding third, coming home.
That's good. All right. Well,
Got
let's
it.
take a listen to the final version of Kirk's starter. This is song 3. I love those 4s up top, Kirk. Now that you said that, like, just it's so much cool stuff.
I like that.
There's the bass.
Yes, Mike.
That is
straight
nice.
up cut me out of the first 60 seconds of the song. That's awesome. Just no.
I love it. I love the walk up. Yeah. It's beautiful.
That's a cool. That's a cool one.
A little spicy
Anyways.
7. There's the sizzle.
Whatever's going on. Yeah, the high frequencies are just gorgeous.
The 7.
Yeah. Ben, those are some really cool stone black touches, man. It's wild.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it had this weird kind of shimmer thing that it just kind of created
Yeah.
by.
I love
Yeah.
that.
It was unexpected, but
Yeah.
Well done.
That was
Wow,
awesome.
you guys. That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
That was really cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
killed it. That bass just like took it to a whole nother level. And just the
Oh,
way you
gosh, I
kind
know.
of, the way you walk.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing mostly chord tones, so I'm not even
Yeah.
necessarily doing, they're all just chord tones of 1, 3, 5s. But then the upper extension things are making it harmonic, whatever. But then when the bass comes in, it's just like it sets off all the notes in whole new ways. I love it. It was great.
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of what you were saying earlier, Ben, where it's like you're confident in your part, but then you're just ready to kind of surrender it to the rest of the process. I thought the bass was, I was really happy with how that came together, but then also like there's more that needs to happen with this one, and it's going to be fun to hear, how everybody brings it together.
It came alive, all of the stuff.
Wow.
You guys, thanks.
So
That's
special.
beautiful.
You guys, before we open up the last one, I'm sitting there and I'm like, don't get me wrong. Again, like there's a lot of relationship and trust, and like the fact that we're able to kind of logistically through Dropbox and the cloud, and kind of just figuring out our schedules, there's more than just 4 chunks of 60 minutes, 4 days. But all that to say, the fact that we did all this an hour a day, 4 days, and it turns out so good. Like, we should just do one of these. Do you know how much music we'd be able to put out? Like how much awesome music we'd be able to put out if we did this once every 2 months. I don't know. We could do it every week for all, but it's wild. I'm taken aback.
Or just imagine
how talented you guys are. Yeah, really.
For a moment, if we could just not overthink things as much as we typically do.
Hey,
there we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's why I need stuff like this, man. Or that's why
it really is. I tell you what, man, because it was just such an enjoyable experience, mostly because it's like it's not all on you to be like the source of all the things and all the ideas. And there's a lot of freedom, a lot of curiosity, And so I think if we could approach our own stuff more like that, then I think we would do more. But to do it with people that you know and trust is fantastic. But I think it's a good reminder for us too to be like, let's just have more fun, but set more like time constraints on yourself to just go for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
That's a good word, man. Another takeaway from me is that like there is such value in just getting into the habit, right? Like just showing up and saying, I am going to do this. Even if it's just for 60 minutes, like this was not requiring, hundreds of hours or tens of hours or even hours. Really. It was like 60 minutes, 4 days. These are words that do not come out of my mouth very often, but it's been kind of a rough week around here. Like there just been enough things just going on with scheduling and with just not, I have not been as much of my congenial self, if you will, for this last week. And just on face value, I probably could have talked myself out of recording on any one of these days and just been like, whatever, not feeling it. Like, and I think, all of you and know me enough to know that like, it probably takes quite a bit for me to be like, I'm just not ready for this today. And so like I kind of felt that like all week long, but to be like, no, like of course I want to own this commitment together with you guys, and we did it, but to like sit here and listen back on it now, like I don't hear any of my animosity self. I don't hear any of my like grumbly self on day 2 or on day 1. Like even with the attitude of a like pile of mud, just to be faithful to the process and for just getting into that habit, it really didn't matter that I wasn't in the mood. Like showing up and then everybody doing what everybody did on all 4 of these songs, I don't know, it says something to me. It's a beautiful thing that come years down the road when we listen back on this, like I'm not going to be, I don't think I'm not going to be like, you know what, that was a really grumpy week for me. And that was I'm going to be listening back and like, man, we made some really cool music. And I think if I would have had to guess on the front end, that I would have said, you're not going to make something that cool, or that, you know what I mean? Like you're not in that mood, but because of the commitment again to you guys, like I had to be in some sort of mood to do something. And I'm just very pleasantly surprised with how it turned out. And so, yeah, I think it just says something to showing up, even if you're not like intrinsically motivated to do it, because the results can still just be like flabbergasting. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, man.
shall we get to song 4? We have
Let's
one
do it.
more. One
That
more.
is
This
yours.
was mine. Indeed. The guitar-like instrument that I picked up for this one was a little parlor acoustic guitar that I have with a rubber bridge on it. So it is very much that kind of, Bon Iver, Novo Amor, like just that muted, folky kind of that sort of acoustic sound. And if I remember correctly, I think I left a little bit of sort of the original sound in there, but of course, with all the fun signal chains and all that stuff, just kind of went for it. And so I think what I wound up doing is doing some sort of progression, but I don't think it was like a 4 or an 8 bar. I think it had kind of an odd wraparound just to kind of play with, which is fun. And then I honestly don't remember. Day 1. Yeah, it was like 72. It was like 96 hours ago. And I just don't remember. But I think my guess, if I were willing to guess, to try to get, there were certain frequencies just by the nature of the rubber bridge that were certain frequencies that were rolling off that I wouldn't normally roll off on any other guitar. So to kind of like play with atmosphere with that type of thing, as opposed to more of, kind of the higher uppers that I typically do frequency wise on guitar atmosphere stuff. I think it was fun. And I think there may have been some reverse stuff in there too, but yeah, let's take a listen to Mike's song starter, song 4. Here we go. Cool. Yeah, it's all just that silly little guitar. You can hear the actual guitar a little bit. It's kind of fun. I don't know if it survived later on, but...
Love it.
If I remember correctly, I think I recorded this faster than it is right now. It was just very ghetto with how I think I was literally just like dragging the tempo up and down and just letting the thing hopefully warp in an okay way. And it did, but I think I may have...
Because there's different counts in between chord changes, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I literally did not care. I was like, I'm just gonna play.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Which it was beautiful.
Which probably
'cause it
drove
kinda,
somebody crazy, but
Yeah.
Well, it
maybe.
made you really
Maybe it
kind
did.
of pay attention.
that is true. It's my
I was day 2 on this.
Oh, Ben,
Trying to create a
have
bass
given
line.
You all
Oh my gosh. Dude,
You're just looking at waveforms at this point.
you did it though.
I did create a bass line.
I was genuinely impressed listening back. I'm like, somehow you followed along with this.
Challenge accepted, Benjamin Taylor.
Man,
It's genuinely a beautiful track, and I love that it's kind of recognizably you and kind of Dear Gravity, but then it's got this feel which is really unique and different and unexpected, but in the best possible way. So yeah. when I got it as kind of day 2, I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect this, but it was a really great challenge and a really beautiful thing to work with. So yeah, really cool.
It's very film-esque to me, like in a great way.
Yeah.
I mean, like I could just listen just to that by itself, you know.
I'm imagining like a kelp forest underwater that's just like swaying, but it's not really like a rhythm of like
Nice.
a back and forth rhythm, like a
Yeah.
even. It's very undulating, very unpredictable, but like graceful and beautiful. I love the way it flows. It is very unsettling, but also mesmerizing. So it's good.
Those are words people use to describe me often, Kirk. That's just unsettling yet mesmerizing, all at the same time.
Like I don't want to take my eyes off you because I don't know if you might hit me.
Funny.
What can I say?
That is good.
Oh, that's awesome. So Ben, I know you already kind of shared about day 2 and the rigmarole that I sent you through on that crazy chord hunt, but anything else?
Yeah, so day 2 I used the synth for day 2. I used my Behringer Wave, which is a wavetable synth.
Awesome.
It's got a really it's got a really kind of unique sound to it. It doesn't do a lot of things, but it does some things very nicely, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a relatively new purchase for me, and I've just really enjoyed creating all kinds of things with it in kind of trying to get the best out of what it can do. It's not amazing for bass, but it can do bass okay. And so I was like, all right, this track, I got it. I was like, I think it needs some kind of bass, and if I don't do it, then it may be leaving it too late in the process to do that. So I was like, I'll focus on bass and then maybe create some kind of shimmers and things like that. So I did a bit. I created a bass line, probably spent half the time on that, and then did a couple of shimmers, couple of atmospheres, and then I did. So you sent through, I think it was 3 stems, which were like the original or the clean audio essentially of what you were playing.
Sure.
And so I kind of made a bigger deal out of one of those and kind of try to focus in on that. And then I think I just mixed things a little bit different to just accompany what I was creating. But yeah, as I said, I thought it was super beautiful, and I enjoyed the challenge of working on the bass side of things.
It's all about that bass. That's awesome.
That's right.
Kirk, you
Then
were
it came to
day
me.
3 on this one, correct? Yes.
Yeah. And I think what I remember is that progression. And so I think what I tried to do was accent the notes of that with either like an octave or even like a melodic reinterpretation of those changes. I think that's kind of where I spent. So if Ben went down, I went up, so where he was accenting the bass, I was trying to make melodic changes on those chord progressions. And then I think that's where I spent most of my time. And then I might have did some sprinkle fill-ins in between. Yeah, but it was feeling good when I got it. I loved it.
Awesome. Love it. And then Marshall landing the plane on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Tell
yes. I did do, I started with just kind of mixing it a bit and, getting things to where kind of felt like was all sitting nicely. I did end up doing a pass, I think one pass with some pedal stuff. I think it was kind of just, I kind of wanted to play on some of the stuff Kirk had done with the piano and just helping kind of, lifting it in those certain moments. I'm feeling like kind of like you said in the beginning, Mike, where we just listened to that and it was like, so like just lovely. And I'm kind of like, well, I hope that I tied it up well and that it's not like way worse than it was than what we just listened to. Cause, but yeah, I loved what everyone did on it. I felt like I just kind of brought a little bit of, kind of tying I don't know, I feel what I brought, I think, across the tracks is, just some of that warbly moments here and there that maybe pop in and out kind of thing. So I'm pretty sure I just did one take with something with that kind of stuff. So
love it.
Yep.
Well, let's take a listen then through the 4th of 4 finalized songs. This is the final version of Mike's starter, Song 4. Mm. Oh, there we go. You guys. Oh, man. Oh. Oh, there's some. Yep. Nice work on following that bass, Ben. Whoa. For whatever reason, that
It's a
two.
Lydian sprinkle.
Wow, that's cool.
Ooh, I like that bass at the end.
Man, that's a ride from start to finish. Well done, you guys. Wow.
I love it. Nice.
I mean, everyone, like just the unique ways of that whole. It was a ride. Yeah, kind of what a couple of you said. Just there's the way I was writing it felt a little linear, even though there were a couple times where there was sort of a phrase that kind of came around a couple times. But I liked the idea of it being more linear instead of, well, here's the A part and here's the, and it felt like that was really responded to production way. I mean, honestly, if you guys would have canned that and like just chopped out 4 bars and just like looped that and created a whole thing, they could have been really cool too, and it would have been awesome. But thanks for taking it on a ride. That was something, Ben. Yeah, seriously, kudos on the to all of you. But that's no joke, man. And well, and just even some of the, I love, just even plain bass. Like I love the notes in between. There, like there's definitely the ones that you land that feel great, but like how you get from here to here, like where do you want to go motion wise with that? You did a really cool job of moving that in the right way, and yeah, it was awesome.
Appreciate it. I mean, I was tempted to chop off 4 bars and loop it, and then it's like, okay, that will make my life a lot easier.
Let's do that. Let's do that next time. Yeah.
No, it's good.
The next sova is like okay, so we are going to create 60 seconds of something like this. The day one has to just be like no more than 60 seconds, and then the next person has to like take it and turn it into like a full song's worth out of some little clip within there, whatever. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
I kind of like this, the through compose kind of thing.
Yeah.
To where you just make this long almost like a long squiggly line, and then
Yep.
everyone else has to kind of build around it. I kind of like that.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, we can do
Right.
whatever we want. But I enjoyed, unsettling may not be the right word, but I enjoyed like this kind of tightrope walking. Like, am I going to land on the right note at the right time? And it's kind of, it's got this, undulating thing that I think makes it really alive. So I dig it.
Yeah, man.
There was this one. I was going to ask you, did you mean to do like a Lydian thing at one point in the
I don't
track?
really know why. Yep.
Okay. Because it was around the 2-minute mark. I was like, and I was like, oh, wait, what's that? So I was like, oh, I remember modes in school. I'm gonna do some Lydian things.
I hit the 2 in the bass with, so it was like a 2 suspended. So it had the 5, like on the scale. It was like 2 with like the 5 in the melody, and it was just very of the moment. I was like, it's not gonna go to the minor third. Like I don't think that's how this moment's supposed to feel. But I don't think I'm changing like the lower bass. I was like, I guess we're going to the and then the Lydian just sort of happened. But
it was great.
Why not?
It was super fun. I ended up taking parts of like Lydian improv, and I brought it back to like the intro of the song. Yeah. And there's like 1 or 2 little Lydian things that happen. You can barely hear it. And then at the very end, I took some more Lydian improv and put it at the tail end.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, he did it. It's like, let's make it modal.
So cool. We were as cool as The Simpsons. The most famous Lydian theme there is.
It's like the only one.
Yeah. Awesome, you guys. I don't know how many more words there are to mince. Y'all did such a great job. This was a really cool project to be a part of, and I have no doubt that Soma Sova will continue to find the spot in the world that it does. And let's go do the thing. Indeed. Indeed.
Well done.
Looking forward to the next time already.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's book it.
We'll start next week.
Yep.
Let's do it. Thanks, guys. Thanks again for joining us on the All Ambient podcast. This is about as shameless of a plug as it gets, but it really does help for those of you who are watching to give us a rating if you're on any podcast platform like Apple or Spotify or anything like that. On YouTube, we would love a follow, a subscribe, a like, all that fun stuff. And please leave a comment, a review, whatever is applicable to the right place that you're finding this. It really does go a long way. You don't have to make anything up by any means, but if there's some value in this podcast for you, we'd love to hear about it. We, as the All Ambient family, would love to meet you. I know it does my heart good, as well as everybody else who's involved at All Ambient. So please do so. Come back and join us next week. We got another great episode coming your way. And until then, here's hoping that this music and the hearts behind it make your day and your life that much better. Thanks.